अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सार्वधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So today we'll try to finish complete chapter 7 and half of chapter 8 fast. No, actually Prabhuji was telling me to finish. Actually I told him to arrange some teacher for chapter 9 and 10 because chapter 9 has Chatushloki, so they can give better than me. So I told he's trying to find, but he did not got anyone. So then he said, whatever you can finish, you try to finish as far as possible. So we'll just read, because after the from text 34, chapter 6 to 38 is prayer. Brahma glorifies devotion service. Then after that, after this chapter, there is scheduled incarnations. So as Prabhuji said, nothing will finish, verse by verse only. Just read and finish. So we'll start from text 34. Can somebody read? The Sanskrit is big. Gather, no, but I don't know the. It's very big shloka. Like na bharati me anga mrishpopalakshate na vaikvachin me manaso mrishagatihi na me rishikani patanti asatpathe yanme hridau kanthayavata drito harihi. Can somebody read translation?
Translation. O Narad, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false. Nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter.
Yeah, so this verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said there is a conversation going on. Parikshit Maharaj says that you spoke about spiritual world, Amritam, Shemam, Abhayam, 1/4 of material world, 3/4 of spiritual world. And then you also said about Maya, who stands behind the Lord, 2, 5, 13. So then he said, all these things, but he's Parikshit Maharaj saying there are some learned people who say this whole universe is illusory and it's a play of mind. It does not really exist. So whom should I believe? So then Brahma speak this verse that whatever I've spoken is not false. Because why it is not false? Because my mind is never deterred and I have caught the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And my senses never degrade to matter. So whatever I've told is all true. Don't hear the opinions of such liars. Means those who say this world is illusion and is just a play of mind and Lord's body is temporary. So Brahma is saying, don't hear them. Hear because I'm what do you say? I hold the lotus feet of the Lord and my mind is never deterred. Okay. So therefore Brahma speak this verse. So 33, 34 to 38, Brahma glorifies devotion service. Okay, text 35. Soham sammam सोहम समाम नयामायस्तपोमयः प्रजापतीनाम् अभिवन्दितः पते अस्थाय योगं निपुणं समाहितस् तं नाद्यगच्छं यत आत्मसंभवः. Read the translation.
Although I am known as the great Brahma, perfect in the disciplic succession of Vedic wisdom, and although I have undergone all austerities and am an expert in mystic powers and self realization, and although I am recognized as such by the great forefathers of the living entities who offer me respectful obeisances, still I cannot understand Him, the Lord, the very source of my birth.
So he's saying, I myself holding the lotus weed, I don't understand Lord so fully. So what to speak of those scholars? They are not very close by. Okay. So text 36. Natosmayam taccharanam samiyusham bhavachidam swasti ayanam sumangalam यो हे आत्मा माया विभवम स्मा पर्यागात यथा नाभास्वन्तम अथा परे कुतः.
Therefore, it is best for me to surrender onto his feet, which alone can deliver one from the miseries of repeated birth and death. Such surrender is all auspicious and allow one to perceive all happiness. Even the sky cannot estimate the limits of its own expansion. So, what can others do when the Lord Himself is unable to estimate His own limits?
Yes. Okay, let's text 37. नाहं नायूयं यदृतं गतिं विदुर् नावामदेव किम् उतापरे सुरः तन्मायया मोहिता बुद्धयास्त्वं त्वइदं विनिर्मितं चात्मसमं विचक्षमेः.
Since neither Lord Shiva nor you nor I could ascertain the limits of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because all of us are bewildered by the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only this manifested cosmos according to our individual ability.
Yeah, so they can see according to their individual means, according to their own perception they see. So Vishwanath Chaudhary Thakur says that, Brahmaji is telling that one portion, one quarter portion also we could not explain properly, what to speak of Lord and the spiritual world. Thus we are put into illusion. Text 38. Yasyaivatara karmani gayanti he asmad adayah नयम विदन्ति तत्वेन तस्मै भगवते नमः.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose incarnations and activities are chanted by us for glorification, though he can hardly be fully known as he is.
Yeah, so now he'll going to speak about the activities, avatars of the lords. So, so Prabhupada writes, the conclusion is that one cannot know the Supreme Personality of Godhead fully by any method, but can be seen and felt partially by devotional service, process of hearing and chanting. Means partially means depend upon his capacity. Whatever his capacity, then he understands the Lord. Now text 39 to 46, Brahma describes Mahavishnu, the Purusha avatars. Then after that, 46, next chapter, he describes the Leela avatar. So text 39, he'll describe the Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu. Sa esha adya Purushaha kalpe kalpe sijjati ajaha atmatmanya atmanatmanam स संयच्छति पति च.
That original supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expanding his plenary person as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation, creates this manifested cosmos, but he is unborn. The creation, however, takes place in him, and the material substance and manifestations are all himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again.
Yes. So he maintains and absorbs into himself. So Prabhupada give example of a spider, not here, some other commentary. Spider creates the web, is maintained by the spider, again goes. So if this quality is there in the spider, why not in the Supreme Lord? So Brahma summarizes the activity of Purusha avatar. So text 40 to 41. Vishuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyak avasthitham satyam purnam anadi antam nirgunam nityam advayam ऋषे विदन्ति मुनयः प्रशन्तात्मेन्द्रियाशयः यदा तत् एव सत्तर्कैः तिरोधीयेत विप्लुतम्.
The personality of Godhead is pure, being free from all contamination of material tinges. He is the absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge. He is all pervading, without beginning or end, and without rival. O Narada, O great sage, the great thinkers can know him when completely free from all material hankerings, and when sheltered under undisturbed condition of the senses. Otherwise, by untenable argument, all is distorted, and the Lord disappear from our sight.
Yeah, so with unreasonable arguments, just by arguments, we cannot know the Lord. Lord disappears. He does not manifest himself. Okay, text 43 to 45. Aham bhavo yagya ime prajesha. 43 to 45. 42? Oh, sorry. Adyovatara purusha parasya
आद्योऽवतार पुरुष परस्य
kalaha sambhava sad ashan manascha
काल संभाव सदनन्मनश्च
dravyam vikaro guna indriyani
द्रव्यं विकारो गुण इन्द्रियाणि
virat swarat sthanshu charishnu bhumnah.
विराट स्वरास्ताश्नु चिरीष्ण भूम्नः Karanadakshai Vishnu is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause, and effects. Mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving.
Yes. Okay. So go to text 43, 44, 45. Aham bhavo yagya ime prajesha
अहं भवो यज्ञ इमे प्रजेशा
dakshadayo ye bhavadaddayascha
दक्षादयो ये भवदादयश्च
swarlokapalah kagalokapala
सलोकपाला खगलोपाला
narlokapala talalokapalah
नरलोकपाला स्थललोकपाला
gandharva vidyadhara charanesha
गंधर्व विद्याधर चारणनीशा
ye yaksha raksho raganaganath natah
ये यक्ष रक्षो
Raganatah. ये वा ऋषिणां ऋषभा पितॄणां दैतेन्द्र सिद्धेश्वर दानवेन्द्रः अन्ये च ये प्रेत पिशाच भूता कुष्मण्डयादो मृगपक्ष अधीशः यत्किंच लोके भगवान् महस्वात् ऊजः सस्वात् बलवत् क्षमावात् श्रीरी विभूति आत्मवत् अभूतारणम तत्वं परम रूपवत् अस्वरूपम
I myself, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, great generators of living beings like Daksha and Prajapati, yourself, Narad and Kumaras, heavenly demigods like Indra and Chandra, the leaders of the Bhuarlok planets, the leaders of the earthly planets, the leaders of the lower planets, the leaders of the Gandharva planets, the leaders of the Vidyadhar planets, the leaders of the Charanlok planets, the leaders of Yakshas, Rakshasas, and Urgas, the great sages, the great demons, the great atheists, and the great spacemen, as well as the dead bodies, evil spirits, satans, jinns, kush, kushmandas, great aquatics, great beasts, and great birds, etc. In other words, anything and everything which is exceptionally possessed of power, opulence, mental and perceptual dexterity, strength, forgiveness, beauty, modesty, opulence, and breeding, whether in form or formless, may appear to be the specific truth and the form of the Lord. But actually, they are not so. They are only a fragment of the transcendental potency of the Lord.
Yeah, so they are all potencies of Lord. They are qualities and potencies of the Lord. Text 46. Pradhan ye toyam rishi amananti लीलावतारान् पुरुषस्य भूम्नः अपि यतां कारणकाशये शोषान् अनुक्रमिष्यासित imam supeshan.
O Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord known as Leela Avtaras. Hearing of their activities counteracts all four matters accumulated in the year. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart.
So he will going to explain now. He explained about Purusha avatar which are dealing with Maya Shakti. Now Brahmaji will explain Leela avatar which deals with Chit Shakti. So next chapter is schedule incarnation with specific functions. So breakdown of this chapter, text 1 to 38, Brahma describes Leela avatar. Text 39 to 50, he explains that Lord Hari is the causes of all causes. And text verses 51 to 53, Brahma's request to Narada Muni. So this will go fast. Text 1. Brahma uvacha yatra dyatah shiti talodharanaya bhiprat.
Yatrodhyatah. करना है recite? All should recite, na? यत्रोद्यतः क्षितितलोद्धरणाय बिभ्रत्.
Kraudim tanum sakala yagyamayam anantah.
Crowdim tanum sakala yagyam ayim
Antar
anantah.
maharnav upagatama adi daityam.
Antar maharnava upagatamadi
Tam
daityam.
strayadrim iva vajradharo daro dadar.
Tam dastrayadri mivam vajradharo dadara. But Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to live the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodak, the first demon, Hiranyaksha, appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk.
Yes, so Prabhupada writes, Prabhupada writes in the purport. A small disturbance was created formerly by the demons headed by Hiranyaksha, the great exploiter of the gold rush. And the earth was detached from its weightless condition and fell down into the Garbhodak ocean. So in Vishnu Puran, there is a story that when Hiranyaksha became big, Mount Meru was up to his hips. He was so big. Then from there he kicked earth as a football. So because earth is there, Prabhupada writes somewhere that he kicked earth like a football. And then earth came and went into Garbhodak ocean. And then boar incarnation, the boar goes to the filthy place. So Lord comes with specific time, place. So boar incarnation was born. Some people say the Bhumandal has fallen like this, but there is no space, only how it will fall. Earth crust, the Bhumandal is up to 4 its radius is, so where it will fall? Actually, it is earth, round earth he kicked, then it went into Garbhodak ocean. There is a space a little bit, so that went from there, it went into Garbhodak. This I heard it in lecture. It's, and the person he quoted Vishnu Puran. It's there. Okay, text 2. Jaturuchir ajanayat
It's
suy.
it's that the globe which we see, that
Globe,
the
globe.
scientists have projected that globe.
Globe.
Same one fell down, no?
Yes.
Not the whole Bhumandal.
No.
It is only that much size.
The Prabhupada writes now, he detached the earth from its weightlessness. So because, huh? The Varadev is Bhumandal. But how will, where it will fell, no? Because then where a Bhumandal is like this and there is universe, no? But where it will fell? But little bit is gap is there. But some people say Bhumandal, but I heard that Prabhupada one study that it kicked earth like a football. This Atma Tattva Prabhu was saying. There are two things, but because I've seen the photo, no, it's a Bhumandal, like this. But then where for it is, I don't know, does not make, because there is no such space, so not so much space between the Bhumandal and earth crust, very less. Because whole diameter, if you see, it's 1 billion from inside, from Meru to Lokalok mountain, and from Lokalok mountain it is more than 1 billion. So 2 billion this side, 2 billion, 4 billion. Then where space, how will it spell? It will topple inside, no? But, and he's standing where? Hiranyaksha is standing where? If he's standing in the space, if he's destroy everything, then what is left? So, anyway. Jato ruchir ajanayat soyaman soyagya akuti sunur amaran ata dakshinayam lokatrayasya mahitim aharadyat artim swayam bhuvena manunena harer iti anuktah.
The Prajapati first begot Suyagya in the womb of his wife Akuti, and then Suyagya begot demigods headed by Suyama in the womb of his wife Dakshina. Suyagya, as the Indradev, diminished very great miseries in the 3 planetary systems, upper, lower, and intermediate. And because he so diminished the 3 miseries of the universe, he was later called Hari by the great father of mankind, namely Swayambhuva Manu.
This verse describes Lord Yagya, and Swayambhuva Manu spoke this Ishopanishad verse to this Lord, like Yagya. Ishopanishad verse is spoken by Swayambhuva Manu to Lord Yagya. Some Rakshasas were approaching Swayambhuva Manu, so then he offered his prayers in the form of Ishopanishad to Lord Yagya for his protection. This is by Madhvacharya in the Ishopanishad commentary. Okay, text 3. Jagge chakardama grihe dve jadehutyam stribhi samam navabhir atmagatim swamatre ucheyayatma shamalam guna sangapankam ashmin budhiya kapilasya gatim prapede.
The Lord then appeared as the Kapila incarnation, began the sons of the Prajapati Brahmana, Kadam and his wife Dehuti, along with 9 other women sisters. He spoke to his mother about self-realization, by which in that very lifetime she became fully cleansed of the mud of the material modes and thereby achieved
liberation, the path of Kapila.
What is the difference between this Kapila and atheistic Kapil?
This leads to devotional service. That leads to, I'm not exactly sure, but he gave in a materialistic way the
Yeah,
analysis.
but how can we distinguish? Like he is Lord Kapil, his disciple is Asuri. There is also atheistic Kapil, his disciple is also Asuri. Philosophy is a, yeah, we distinguish by philosophy, but there is one distinguish also. Son of Dehuti. Is a Prabhupada right? Teachings of Lord Kapil are the son of Dehuti. Son of Dehuti. Very good. Nice, interesting. Okay, text 4. अत्रेरपत्यम अभिकांक्षता अहतुष्टो दत्तो मयाहम इति यद् भगवान् स दत्तः यत्पाद पंकज पराग पवित्र देह योग हृदयमपुर उभयम यदु हे या दयाः.
The great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son, Dattatreya, Datta, the son of Atri. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many Yadus, Hayasa, Hayahavas, etc., become so purified that they obtain both material and spiritual blessings.
Yes, Prabhupada said Dattatreya was a propounder of Brahmavad philosophy. And Ashtavakra was a propounder of Mayavad philosophy. Then later it was Shankar. Originally it was Ashtavakra. Dattatreya was Mayavad. Huh? It was Shankar. Ashtavakra. Mayavad.
Ashtavakra Muni, we quote in some kind of talks also, no, that one king laughed at the assembly laughed.
Bend on 8 places he
Ah.
was walking, yes.
So, but if he's a Mayavadi, should we put him in the?
Even the Mayavadis?
Like he's a Mayavadi. Should we talk about him?
That one.
I'm asking, should we talk such things about him, because then we're creating respect for him. Shankaracharya's case is very special, where he was empowered by the Lord to do the role of Mayavad.
So there is only one story we talk, na? Chalega, I don't know. Generally, we quote many things. We quote scientists also. They are all atheists to support our viewpoints. So the stories. What is the moral of the story, no? So, huh? We are holding on to Maya. Thank you, bro. Okay, text 7. Which 5? What is the?
What is the filthy place referred to? Yet
Refer
fell
to-
in
that
Garbhodaka.
he made this Garbhodak ocean filthy. He made it dirty. That is a, so Prabhupada says then the filthy place bore goes. So he kicked in Garbhodak ocean. He made the ocean is filthy, complete. That is a filthy place. There is no filthy place. Where filthy place? He kicked it, went into Garbhodak ocean and made the ocean dirty. Nice. तप तम तपो विविधा लोक शिक्षया में अदौसनात् स्वतपसा तपसा सचतु सनुभूत
Adau sanasva tapasa sachatusano
प्राकल्प संप्लवा विनिशितम इहत्मतत्वम सम्यक जगाद मुनियो यद अचक्षतात्मन
samyak jagadamunayo atman. To create different planetary systems, I had to undergo austerities and penance, and the Lord, thus being pleased with me, incarnated as the 4 Sanas: Sanandan, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. In the previous creation, the spiritual truth was devastated, but the four sanas explained it so nicely that the truth at once became clearly perceived by the sages.
Okay. So text 6. धर्मस्य दक्षा दुहितारि अजनिष्टमूर्त्यम् नारायणो नर इति स्वतपा प्रभावः दृष्ट्वात्मतो भगवतो नियमावलोपम् देव्यस्त्व अनंग प्रतना गति तुम ना शेकुः.
To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance, he appeared in twin form as Narayana and Nara in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma and the daughter of Daksha. Celestial beauties, the companions of Cupid, went to try to break his vows, but they were unsuccessful, for they saw that many beauties like them were emanating from him, the personality of Godhead.
Yes, so this Nar Nara and Rishi, and how was Nar was born? That I read one book from the story. So when when Brahmaji created one demon, so that demon was killed by Lord Shiva. Means no, something happened. I just remember. Brahmaji created one demon. That demon ran after Lord Shiva to
Hare
kill him.
Krishna.
Who's? So जो Brahma ji one created one demon. It's in the stories from the Puranas. One book is there, na? There I read. So Brahma ji created one demon. So he ran after Shiva to kill him. So I don't remember the first part what happened. Then Shiva ran to Vishnu. So Vishnu what he did? He was lying. He said, Shiva, you cut off my hand. So Shiva with this trident he cut off Vishnu's hand. So from Vishnu's hand a blood came. Then Vishnu told Shiva, you take this blood in your skull. So he took the blood and he stirred it. And again Vishnu's hand came back. It was spiritual. And then he stirred the blood, and after stirring the blood, suddenly one person was formed. So he was a human being. So actually he was Nar because he came from Narayan. So then Vishnu told he will fight with that demon. So that was a fierce battle between that demon and Nara. So they fought, and that demon got defeated by it. So he got defeated. Then Brahma came. Then Vishnu said, "Don't worry, I'll give him life again." So that demon came in this next life as Sahastra Kavach. Then again he fought with Narnarayan Rishi at the Badrinath. Then that demon ran. When they were defeated, Sahasra Kavach means there was Kavach, 1000 Kavach. He got a benediction that whoever kills him, first he has to break the Kavach, then do simultaneously tapasya for 100 years, then break the Kavach. If he break the Kavach, one Kavach, he'll die. And simultaneously. So then Narnarayan defeat Narnarayan, they are one person. So when Narayan was fighting, Nar was doing tapasya. And when Narayan broke his kavach, he appeared to as dead. Then he woke up. The Nar fought like this. His one kavach was left. Then he started running. Then he thought that he's going to die. He ran towards Surya Dev. Then he took shelter of Surya Dev. So Narayan saying, give this demon back. So Surya Dev said that those who have taken my shelter. So in Dwapar, I'll send him. So he came as Karna. And Nar was Arjun. Krishna Arjun originally, then Narayan came. So that Nar was formed like this. I heard this story. So it was there. So I don't know its authenticity, but it was there. And it was selling. ISKCON. Book is there. Stories from Purana. A very weird thing. So anyway, I read, so I shared. So authenticity, I don't know. I read, I shared. It was there. So it was interesting, so I just shared it. Otherwise, after reading shlokas, people will get bored. Okay, text 7. Kamam dahati kritano nanurosha drishtya. Rosham dahantam utate na dayanti ashyam. Soyam yat antaram alam pravesham bhiveti. Kama katham na punarasamanashayeta.
Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their breathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish him. Yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effect of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind?
Like Lord Shiva burned Cupid, but Lord Narayan, Naranaran, because they are free from all this, so nothing happened to them. Like this. The Sahasrakava story is true because it is in the Sthal Puran of Badrinath, that's told by Govind Bro. So, but this other one, okay, text 8. Vidha saptani udita patribhirantiragyo balopi san upagatas tapase vanani tasma ada dhruva gatim granate prasanno
Tasma ada dhruva gatim dhanat
divyastuvanti manayo yadupari adhastat.
being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wives of the king. Even in his presence, Prince Dhruva, though only a boy, took two severe penances in the forest. And the Lord, being satisfied by his prayers, awarded him the Dhruva planet, which is worshipped by great sages, both upward and downward.
So this verse talks about Lord's in avatar called Prishnigarbha, who gave darshan to Dhruv Maharaj. Okay, text 9. Yadve namutpatagatam dvijavakya vajra nishplushta purusha bhagam niraye patantam Pratvartito jagati putra padam chalebhe Dugda vashuni vasudha sakalani yena.
Maharaj Veena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this, King Veena was burnt with his good deeds and opulence and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name of Prithu, delivered the condemned King Vena from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce.
So King Prithu, this verse describe the incarnation as Prithu, who was having Palana Shakti of the Lord. Okay, text 10. Nabhera Savrishabha Asasudevi Sunur Yo Vai Charachara Samadri Jada Yoga Charyam Yat Paramhamsayam Rishaya Padam Amananti Swastha Prashanta Karana Parimukta Sangaha.
The Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabhi, and was known as Rishabdev. He performed materialistic yoga to equibalance the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfectional situation of liberation, wherein one is situated in oneself and is completely satisfied.
Yeah, so King Rishabdev, there was a King Arhat who was trying to follow Rishabdev. From him, the Jainism started. King of Konka Venka. So from it, Jainism started. Jainism philosophy is Syadvad. Syadvad. It may be like this. It may be like this. It may be this. It may be that. Syadvad. Syadvad means maybe. Anuman. Maybe I saw. Yeah. Jain. Text 11. Tatre mama sabhagavan haya shirasato साक्षात् स यज्ञ पुरुषस्तपानीय वर्णः चंदोमयो मखमयो खेल देवात्मा वचो बभूवुरुषिति शाश्वतोस्य नष्टः.
The Lord appeared as a Hayagrave, incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, Brahma. He is the personified sacrifice, and the who of his body is golden. He is personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sound of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils.
Yeah, so Vedic hymns, meters, all came from Lord Haigriva. The Haigriva killed the demon. Those two demons, Madhu and Kaitab, they stole Vedas from the mind of the Brahma, and he came. Lord Haigriva killed them. Text 12. Matsayoganta samaye manunapalabdha Shonimayo nikhila jiva nikhaya ketah Vishram shitan urubhaye shalil mukhan mein Adaya tatra vijahara veda margan.
At the end of the millennium, Satyavrata, the future Vaivasvat Manu, would see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities, up to those in the earthly planets. Because of my Brahma's fear of the wash water at the end of the millennium, the Vedas come out of my mouth, and the Lord enjoys those wash waters and protects the Vedas.
Yeah, the Matsya, golden fish. Text 13. Shirodadav amara danav yathapanam unmathanatam amrita labdhaya adi devaha prishtena kachapavapur vidadhara gotram nidrashanodri parivartashana kanduhu.
The primeval Lord then assumed the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place, Pahot, for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning rod. The demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandar mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation.
So Lord Kurma is described here. Pastimes of Lord Kurma. We go to text 14. Traipishtaporo bhayaha san narsamarupam Kitva brahmat bhrukuti damstrikarlavaktram
Krutva brahmad brukutidam strakarala vaktram
Daitendramasu gadaya bhipatantam marat
Daitendramashu gadaya bhipatantamarad
Urau nipatya vidadhara nakhai spurantam.
Urau nipatya vidadhar nakhaisparantam. The personality of Godhead assumed the incarnation of Nrsimhadev in order to vanquish the great fears of the demigods. He killed the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, who challenged the Lord with a club in his hand by placing the demon on his thighs and piercing him with his nails, rolling his eyebrows in anger and showing his fearful teeth and mouth.
Narsimadev. Text 15. अंतसरस्य उरुबालिन पदे गृहीतो ग्रहेण युथपतिरम्बुजहस्त अर्थः आहेदमदि पुरुषखिला लोकनाथा तीर्थश्रवा श्रवण मंगल नामधेय.
The leader of the elephants, whose legs was attacked in a river by a crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of the universe, O deliverer, as famous as a place of pilgrimage. All, all are purified simply by hearing your holy name, which is worthy to be chanted.
So here this describe Lord Hari, who came, to save Gajendra. Lord Hari. Text 16. Shutva haristam aranarthinam aprameyas chakra yudhaha patgarja bhuja dhirudha चक्रेन नक्रवदनं विनिपत्य तस्मात् दस्ते परगृह भगवान कृपयो जहारा.
The personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's plea, felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the wheel, Chakra. With the wheel he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant, and he delivered the elephant by lifting him by his trunk.
Delivered the elephant. Lord Hari. This is Lord Hari. Jayayan gunair avrajopi adet sutanam लोकान् विचिक्रम इमाम यत् अथादि यज्ञः क्षमां वामनेन जगरे त्रिपच्छलेन याक्ष्यामृते पातिचरन् प्रभुभिर्नाचाल्यः.
The Lord, although transcendental to all material modes, still surpassed all the qualities of the sons of Aditi, known as Adityas. The Lord appeared as the youngest son of Aditi, and because he surpassed all the planets of the universe, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the pretense of asking for a measurement of 3 footsteps of land, he took away all the lands of Bali Maharaj. He asked simply because without begging, no authority can take one's rightful possessions.
This is Vaman Dev. Okay, text 18. Nartho baleraya murukrmapad saucham आपः शिखादृतवतो विभुधाधिपत्यम् जो वै पतिश्रुतमृतेन चिकीर्षदन्यात् आत्मानमङ्गमनसा हरये भीमेने.
Bali Maharaj, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything besides his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was of no value.
Okay, Bali is Vaman. Text 19. तुभ्यं च नारद वृषं भगवान् विवृद्धः
तुभ्यं न नारद वृषं भगवान् विविद्धः
भवेन साधु परितुष्ट उवाच योगम्
भावेन साधु परितुष्ट उवाच योगम्
ज्ञानं च भागवतम् आत्मसतत्वदीपम्
ज्ञानं च भागवतमात्मसतत्त्वदीपम्
यद्वासुदेव शरणा विदुर अंजसैव
यद्वासुदेव शरणा विदुरञ्जसि. O Narada, you were taught about the science of God and his transcendental loving service by the personality of Godhead in his incarnation as Hamsavatar. He was very much pleased with you due to your intense proportion of devotional service. He also explained to you, unto you, lucidly the full science of devotional service, which is especially understandable by persons who had souls surrendered unto Lord Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead.
Yeah, so this Narada was taught by Lord Hamsa. This was described Lord Hamsa avatar. Text 20.
So Brahmaji also taught, and
Narada, Brahmaji, yes. Brahmaji was asking no, the question. No, Narada Muni asked Brahmaji, what is this? Brahmaji asked question, the object sense goes into the mind or mind goes into the sense objects. So then somebody asked Brahmaji, I forgot. Brahmaji said, I also don't know. Then he summoned Hamsa avatar. The Lord Hamsa avatar came and he answered that how it works. Text 20. Chakram cha diksha avahaitam dashasho swatejo manvantareshu manivamshadharo bibharti dusteshu rajasu damam vyadadat swakirtim satyeti prishta ushitim parthayams charitre.
as the incarnation of Manu, the Lord became the descendant of the Manu dynasty and ruled over the miscreant kingly order, subduing them by his powerful wheel weapon. Undeterred in all circumstances, his rule was characterized by his glorious fame, which spread over the three lokas and above them to the planetary system of Satyaloka, the topmost in the universe.
Yeah, so this was described one of the Manvantara avatar. So 14 Manvantara appear in one day of Brahma. Okay, text 21. Dhanvantarescha Bhagavan Swayam Eva Kirtir Namna Andranam Pururajam Braja Sauhanti Yagye cha Yagye cha Bhagam Amritayur Avavarundha Ayushya Vedam Anushasti Avitirya Loke.
The Lord, in his incarnation of Dhanvantari, very quickly cures the disease of the ever deceased living entities simply by his fame personified, and only because of him do the demigod achieve long lives. Thus, the personality of Godhead become ever glorified. He also exacted a shape from the sacrifices, and it is he only who inaugurated the medical science or the knowledge of medicine in the universe.
Yes, so knowledge of medicine is Ayurveda. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, no? As the stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, everything emanates from the ultimate source of personality of Godhead. It is therefore understood this was that medical science or knowledge of medicine are also inaugurated by the personality of Godhead, the incarnation of Dhanvantari. Thus, knowledge is recorded in the Vedas. So in every Puran, every book, like Vedic, Puran, and Upanishad also, they talk about the source from where it is coming. Every Puran they talk, means you can buy because the source, then everything should be used in the connection of that source, that is the Supreme Lord. And what is Prabhupada says, the real medicine for age, the name of the Lord is called Bhava Aushadhi, or the source of curing the disease of material existence. Okay, text 22. Shatram Shayaya Vidinopabhritam Mahatma Brahma Druk Ujitapatham Narakartilipsu Udanti Asau Avanikantam Ugraviryas Trisaptakritva Urudhara Parashvadhena.
When the ruling administrators, who are known as the Kshatriyas, turn astray from the path of the absolute truth, being desirous to suffer in hell. The Lord, in his incarnation as sage Parshuram, uprooted those unwanted kings who appeared as the thorns of the earth. Thus he thrice 7 times uprooted the Kshatriyas with his keenly sharpened chopper.
Yeah, so Prabhupada writes, Lord Parshuram, the incarnation of the personality of God, and the purport, appeared in such a state of worldly affairs and killed all the miscreant kings 21 times. And he killed those Kshatriyas with the speed of mind. And after the fear of Kshatriya, many Kshatriya fled from India and other parts of the world. And according to authority of Mahabharat, the kings of Egypt originally migrated from India, those pharaohs, but because of Parshuram's program of chastisement. The kings or administrators are similarly chastised in all circumstances whenever they become godless and plan a godless civilization. That is the order of Almighty. So all these kings of Moses, Egypt, they are all the Kshatriyas fled due to the fear of, they are from the Kshatriyas. During that time, the pharaohs were there. They were the Kshatriyas fled from the chopper of Parshuram. Okay, text 23. Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya klesha ikshvaku vamsha avitirya guror nideshe tishtan vanam sa daityanuja avivesha yasmin viruddhya dashakandar artim archat.
Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as a lord of his internal potency Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharatha, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished.
So what offense? He took away Sita from Ram, but he took away false Sita. Text 24. Yasma adat uddir urdabhayanga vepo margam spadde aripuram arvat didiksho dure suhan matitharo shushona drishtya tatapyamana makaro raga nakra chakraha.
The personality of Godhead Ramchandra, being aggrieved for his distant intimate friend Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravan with red hot eyes like those of Hara, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because its family members, the aquatics, like the sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burned by the heat of the angry red hot eyes of the Lord.
Yes, so Lord Ramachandra.
I think ocean gave the way out of fear. But ocean didn't give the way, na?
The ocean gave the way, means ocean told Ram that you throw the stones, it will float on the write the name on the stones. In that way he gave.
Gave the way means ocean told to make the bridge.
Okay, text 25. Vakshasthala sparsha rugna mahendravaha dantair vidimbita kakubjusa udhahasam साध्य सुभी सह विनिश्याति दराहर्तुर विस्फुजिते धानसु उच्चतो दशन्ये.
When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the tusks of the elephant which carried the king of the heaven, Indra, broke into pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his daughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very year of life, suddenly cheered with the swinging sound of the bow of Ramchandra, the personality of Godhead.
Yeah, so Ravan in the Ramayana, there is description that Ram generally we see, previously in the before coming to ISKCON, Ravan has big mustache. He is very asuric, like he's. But actually, when Hanuman went to search for Sita, he was seeing all the compartments. So in one compartment, Ravan was there. So he saw he was very beautiful, and he was having the hole in his chest because of Airavat tusk. Ravan was beautiful, but and he saw Ravan was snoring also. So means he's a very ignorant person. Those who snore, they may be very beautiful, but they are very ignorant person. So Ravan was beautiful, and if he is going into each and every compartment, and there was some Mataji's putting kya usko bolte, some rang colors. So that time cosmetics were also there. Means Hanuman was seeing, but he was seeing looking for Mother Sita. Then when he came to Ravan, so during when Ravan died, during one time when while he was dying, he said one thing to he was thinking to Lakshman. He said, whenever you want to do, when the thought of doing good thing comes, you immediately do it. When the thought of bad thing comes, you think 100 times before doing it. So this is there. So Ravan, it was very beautiful, but Ravan was that. Okay, text 26. And Ravan was, and Bali Maharaj, he was so powerful, he put Ravana on his arm, and he was jumping from one place and he was jumping in other direction to do his Gayatri. And Ravan was shouting, Bali, sorry, Bali. So no, Bali Maharaj, no, Sugri, Bali, sorry, Bali. He called Ravana like this. And Ravana was shouting, Bali, please leave me. And Bali was doing, jumping from, because Ravan went to think he was very powerful. But Bali, so when Ram killed Bali, so Bali was telling, oh Lord Ram, if you would have told me, I bought Raman in front of you. But Bali was full of pride and ego. And he did one mistake also. He took Sugriva's wife. So Ram has to kill Bali. So Raman was not so powerful. But but still he was very materialistic, very powerful. He was powerful, not too much. Because in the story he went to, there's a story in Purana, he went to Lord Shiva to help him to fight with Ram. So Lord Shiva told, no, he's my Lord, how can I fight with him? One way I'll tell you, give back Sita. So Ravan even did not listen to Ravan. Ravan even did not listen to Lord Shiva. So then he went to Sutal, where Bali Maharaj was there to help. So when Bali Maharaj came to know that he wanted to fight Lord Ram, and Lord Ram is the Supreme Lord. So he told Ravan, you come here. You see this? What do you see? So Ravan saw it was a big golden mountain. So a wonderful mountain. So Bali Maharaj said, it is all yours. Take it. So he went to pick up. He could not even move it. So Bali Maharaj said, why you cannot move it? What is this? This is the earring of the demon, which that Supreme Lord Ram killed in his previous incarnation as Lord Narsimhadev. And you cannot, move the earring, and you want me to fight. Well, you give back Sita. But still he was so lusty, in spite of he was having so many woman Matajis, but still he wanted Sita. So then he got destroyed by Lord Ram. Okay, text 26. Bhume suretara varutha vimarditaya क्लेशव्यव्याकालयसीत कृष्णकेशः जाता करिष्याति ज्ञानोपलक्ष्यमार्गः कर्माणि चात्मा महिमो पानि बन्धनानि.
When the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can properly estimate how great he is.
Yeah, so this talks about Krishna. Okay. Okay, the Krishna using Jiva Goswami using this word Kesha. Some people say that Vishnu through black and white hair, then Krishna Balram came. So even Vishwanath Thakur, Jiva Goswami says Kesha does not mean hair. Kesha means, he says it means the splendor. He means, he will appear splendor. He said Jiva Goswami says it is splendor. So he'll appear the Supreme Lord splendor. He will appear. Kesha does not mean hair. So he gives elaborate explanation in his Krishna Sandarbha. All the avatars it describes in Krishna Sandarbha. Text 27. Tokena jiva haranam yat ulokikayas त्रैमासिकस्य च पदाशक्तोपावृताः यद्रिङ्गतान्तरगतेन दिवि स्पर्शोर्वा उन्मूलनं त्व इतरथार अर्जुनो योर्न भाव्यम्.
There is no doubt about Lord Krishna's the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how was it possible for him to kill a giant demon like Putana when he was just on the lap of his mother, to overturn a cart with his leg when he was only 3 months old, to uproot a pair of Arjuna trees so high that they touched the sky when he was only crawling? All these activities are impossible for anyone other than the Lord himself.
Yes. Now text 28. Yad vai vraje vrajya pashon vishotyapītān पालंस्त्व अजिव्यात् अनुग्रह दृष्टि वृष्ट्या
Palanstyavashivayam
तच्छुद्धये इति विशावीरवल्योलजीवम्
Tatshuddhaye Ativishavirya Vilo
उच्चाति यस्यात् उर्गम विहार हरदिन्याम्.
Uchatayishat Puragam. Then also, when the cowherd boys and their animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord in his childhood revived them by his merciful glance, just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, he jumped into it as if playing and chastised the venomous Kaliya snake, which was lurking there, its tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such Herculean tasks but the Supreme Lord
himself? Okay, text 29. Tat karma divyam iva yannishi nihashyanam दावाग्निना सूचिवने परिध्यमाने उन्यश्यति व्रजमतो वशितन्तकालम् नेत्रे पदीप्या सबलो नादिगम्य वीर्यः.
On the very night of the day of the On the very night of the day of the chastisement of the Kaliya snake, when the inhabitants of Rajbhumi were sleeping carefree, there was a forest fire ablaze due to dry leaves, and it appeared that all the inhabitants were sure to meet their death. But the Lord, along with Balram, saved them simply by closing his eyes. Such are the superhuman activities of the Lord.
Yes. Text 30. गृहीणीत यद्यत् उपादबन्धममुष्य माता शुलभम सुतस्य न तु तत्तत् अमुष्यमाते यज्जिम्बतोऽस्य वदने भुवनानि गोपी
Ajrimbatoosya vadane bhuvanani gopi.
समवीक्षया शङ्कितमना प्रतिबोधितासेत्
Samviksha sankitamana pratibhoditasi. When the cowherd woman, Krishna's foster mother Yashoda, was trying to tie the hands of her son with ropes, she found the rope to be always insufficient in length. And when she finally gave up, Lord Krishna by and by opened his mouth, wherein the mother found all the universes situated. Seeing this, she was doubtful in her mind, but she was convinced in a different manner of the mystic nature of her son.
Okay, text 31. नंदम च मोक्षति भयात् वरुणस्य पाशात् गोपान् बलेषु पिहितान् माय सुना सुना सुनूना च अहिन् अप्रतं निशिसायनम् अतिश्रमेण लोकम लोकम वैकुंठम उपनश्यति गोकुलम स्म.
Lord Krishna saved his foster father Nanda Maharaj from the fear of the demigod Varuna and released the cowherd boys from the caves of the mountain, for they were placed there by the son of Maya. Also to the inhabitants of Vrindavan, who were busy working during daytime and sleeping soundly at night because of their hard labor in the day. Lord Krishna awarded promotion to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. All these acts are transcendental and certainly prove without any doubt his godhood.
Okay, text 32. गोपैर्मखे प्रतिहते व्राज विप्लवाय देवे विवर्षति पशून् कृपाय रिरक्षुः धर्तो चिलिन्द्रम् इव सप्तदनानि सप्त वर्षो महिद्रम् अनघैककारे शलीलम्.
When the cowherdmen of Vrindavana, under instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Braja was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy upon the inhabitants of Braja, held up the hill known as Govardhana with one hand only. Although he was only 7 years old, he did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water.
Govardhan. Text 20. Text 33. कृदन्वने निशि निष्कार रश्मि गौर्याम रसोन्मुख कालपद्येत मूर्छितेन उदीप्त स्माररुजम्बज्ज बृहद्वधूना हर्तुर्हरिष्यति शिरोदान दानुगस्य.
When the Lord was engaged in his pastime of the Rasa dance in the forest of Vrindavan, enlivening the sexual desire of the wives of the inhabitant of Vrindavan by sweet and melodious song, a demon of the name Shankachuda, a rich follower of the treasure of heaven Kuvera, kidnapped the damsels, and the Lord severed his head from his trunk.
Text 34 to 35. ये चे प्रलंबकार ददोरकेश अरिष्ठा माले बकंसा यवनः कपि पुंड्रकादयः अन्ये च साल्वकुज बल्वला दंतवक्रा सप्तोक्ष संभर विधुरा तरुक्मी मुख्याः ये वै मृदे समिति सालिना आतचापः कंभोज मत्स्य कुरुसिंज कैक कैकायादः यस्यन्ति अदर्शनम् अलम बाल पार्थ भीमा व्याज व्यने हरिणा निलयम ता दियम.
All demonic personalities like Pralamba, Dhenuka, Baka, Kesi, Arishta, Chanur, Mustika, Kolapyapida, Elephant, Kamsa, Kalaivana, Narakasura, and Poundraka, great martial like Salva, Vidya Monkey, and Balvala, Dandavakra, the seven bulls, Shambara, Vidurata, and Rukmi, as also great warriors like Kamboja, Matsya, Kuru, Sanjaya, and Kekaya would all fight vigorously, either with the Lord Hari directly or with him under his names of Baldev, Arjun, Bhima, etc. And the demons thus being killed would attain either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or his personal abode in the Vaikuntha planets.
Yes. Okay, text 36. कालेन मिल कालेन मिलतधियाम अवमृश्य निर्नाम स्तोखायुषाम स्वनिगमो बता दूरपारः अविरहितस्त्व अनुयुग्गम सा हि सत्यवत्यम वेदा दुर्मंबित पाश विभाजस्यति स्म.
The Lord himself in his incarnation as son of Satyavati, Vyasdev, will consider his compilation of the Vedic literature to very difficult for the less intelligent persons with short lives, and thus he will divide the tree of Vedic knowledge into different branches according to the circumstances of the particular age.
Yes. So this Vyasdev is the Lord himself. There are 28 Vyasas. Next Vyas will be Ashwatthama. So this only in one day of Brahma, this Lord comes as personally as Vyas. Otherwise, some living entity make it into Vyasdev. Huh? In this one day of Brahma, this Vyas every 28 after every Dwapar Yuga, Vyasdev comes. But in this millennium, this Vyasdev is the Lord himself. Pardon? All the Lord comes in 28 million, all the Vyasdev Lord. Yeah, one day of Brahma, 28 millennium. This Jiva Goswami gives in Tattva Sandarbh. Then he said, gives the list of Vyas, that all the living or other living entities are Vyas, but only this he quotes from Vishnu Paran, that Vidhi Narayan Prabhu, like this he said, that this Vyas is the Narayan himself who has come this age. Okay, text 37. देवाद्विषां निगमा वर्तमानि निष्ठितानां पूर्भिर्मयेन वितिभिरदृश्यतुर्भिः लोकान् घ्नतां मत्ति विमोहम् अत्यप्रलोभम् वेषं विधाय बहुभश्यता औपधर्मयम्.
When the when the atheist, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles.
So this was described Buddha. So Prabhupada writes, this incarnation of the Lord Buddha is not same Buddha incarnation we have in the present history of mankind. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appeared in different Kali age, different Kali Yuga. in the duration of life of Manu, one Manu, there are more than 72 Kaliyugas. And in one of them, particular type of Buddha mentioned here would appear. Okay. This, I saw the board now, Kanai Krishna was taking Tattva Sandarbha also. Huh? So it's very good. This, there, he was asking about the Vyasdev, he's taking, then he'll take from commentary, read Sanskrit word by word. So it's very nice. Tattva Sandarbha he'll take. So you can attend his class because he prepares. It takes night 11 o'clock he sits and prepares. He take one verse, take this, read this commentary, put, and he remembers those shlokas and he quotes and he makes whole. So he takes a lot of time. I didn't prepare. I got 3 days before. Only creation I have studied, so I could, but this thing I didn't prepare at all because I teach second canto overview. What is this? What is this in 2 days? 10 chapter. Every like overview of Bhagavatam. So for to me prepare seeing commentary big no time. So thank God. So I was telling him that you arrange for 2 chapters 9 and 10 so that somebody is dead because no time for preparation only. So they can teach very nicely. So I'll planning to finish 8 chapter, then I'll disappear. Text 38. Disappear means I'll go. Yar hai text 38. No, because you should learn nicely, all this thing because there's no time how to prepare. To prepare 1 to 3 verses is taking 2-3 hours. Seeing this commentary, putting. So I told him you arrange. Okay, text 38. Yar hai aleyashva api satam nahare katha syuha
Yarihalayeshwapi satam na hare katha syuhu.
pashandino dvij jana vrishala nirdevah
Pashandino dvijajana vrishalandrudevaha.
swasvada vashat iti sma giro nayatra
Swaha swadha vashaditi smagiro nayatra.
shashta bhavishyati kaler bhagavan yugante.
Shasta bhavishyati kaler bhagavan yugante. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exists no topics on the subject of God, even at the residences of so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the 3 higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low-born Shudra class or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser.
So this is Lord Kalki coming on a horse. So Prabhupada writes, in purport, very interesting. I just read. Prabhupada says, no, one should not get attracted to today's avatar, which they claim that they are Kalki. So Kalki has no belly and no beard. Kalki is very beautiful, coming on horse, riding his sword. But in South India, there are so many Kalki. I just said Prabhupada, I just forgot. Well, okay, anyway. So Prabhupada writes last line, Kalki avatar and kills all the demons without mercy. So it will be so degraded in 12th canto that the trees will be 3 foot. So what will be the human? That time when Kalki will come. And in Kalki Puran also, if anybody has, there is a story, Kalki will come with the Brahmana army. And the Kali's, description also there, like, his tongue is outside, red, and is black. And from his body, the smell of dead mouse comes. And Kali's form. Kalki will fight with Kali. Kalki is very beautiful. Kali's form, and then Kali's symbol was on his flag is owl. So all this Kali will be with his, all his family members fighting. Okay, text 39. सर्गे तपोहम ऋषियो नवाये प्रजेशः स्थानेत धर्मा मखमन व अमर वनीशः। अन्ते तो अधर्म हरमान्युवश वशाशुरादय माया विभूत्या इमपूर्व शक्ति भाजः। Yes, so from text 39 to text number 50. So Brahmaji is telling Narad Muni, no cause exists beyond Lord Hari. All the great personality, the different manifestation of energies and everything, the creation, maintenance, destruction, all is conducted by his incarnations and their potency. So Lord is the cause of, there is no cause beyond the Lord. Okay, read the translation.
At the beginning of the creation, there are penance, myself, Brahma, and the Prajapatis, the great sages who generate. In then during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Vishnu, uh, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of the different planets. But at the end, there is in religion, and then Lord Shiva and the atheists, full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power,
Energy of
the Lord.
These are all energies of the Lord. Text 40. Vishnurnuvirya gananam katomo gananam katomo arhatiha ya partivanya api kabir vimame rajamsi taskambayasva rahasa kalat triprishtham यस्मात्र सम्या सदनात् उरु कंप्यमानम कंपयानम. Read a translation.
Who can describe completely powers of Vishnu? Even the scientist who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so, because it is he only who is form of the Vikram moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet, Satyaloka, up to the neutral state of the three modes of the material nature, and all were the moved.
Yes. Who can describe the Lord's? Okay. Text 41. Nantam vidamya aham ami manyo grajaste maya balasya purushasya kuto varaye गायन गुणान दाश शतानान आदिदेवः शेषोऽधुनापि समवश्यति नस्य पारम्.
Neither I nor all the sages born before you know fully the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So, what can others who are born after us know about him? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely says, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with 1,000 faces.
So even Vishwanath Chakur Thakur says that no one knows the strength of his Maya Shakti, what to speak of spiritual energy. Okay, so how can they understand the Lord? See, Prabhupada write, the omnipotent personality of God has primarily three potential manifestations, namely internal, external, marginal potency, with unlimited expansions of these three energies. As such, the potential expansions can never be calculated by any one, because even the personality of God himself as an incarnation of Shesh cannot estimate the potencies, although he has been describing them continuously with with his 1,000 faces. Okay, text 42. येषां स एष भगवान् दयाद् अनन्तः सर्वात्मांशतपाद यदि निर्वयालिकम्. te dustaram atitaranti ch deva mayam naisha mamaham iti dhisva shugala bhakshe.
But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so.
Those in bodily concept of life, those people meant to be sin eat by jackals and dogs. Text 43-45. Vedaham anga paramasya hi yogamayam yuyambavascha bhagavan atha daityavaryaha patni mano sach manuscha tadadatmajascha प्राचीन बर्हिर्भुरंग उता ध्रुवश्च इक्ष्वाकुरायल मुचकुंद विदेह गाधी राघवम अम्बरीश सागर गया नहुषादय मंधातर लर्क सतधानु अनुरांति देवा देवव्रतो बलिरमुरत अमृतार्या दिलीपः सौभार्य उतंकस्य विदेवल पिप्लाद सरस्वतो धाव परशरा भूरिशेनः येने च विभीषण हनुमत उपेन्द्र दत्ता पार्थसृष्टे पार्थर पार्थर्ष्टिशेन विदुरा श्रुतदेव वर्यः
O Narad, although the potencies of the Lord are unknowable and immeasurable, I still know how he acts through his Yogamaya potencies. And similarly, the potencies of the Lord are also known to you, to the all-powerful Shiva, to the great kings of the atheist family, namely Prahlad Maharaj, to Swayambhu Manu, his wife Shatarupa, and his sons and daughters, namely Priyavrat, Uttanapad, Akuti, Devahuti, Prasuti, to Prachin Barihi, Ribhu, and Anga, the father of Vena, and to Maharaj Dhruva, Ikshaku, Aila, Muchukunda, Maharaj Janak, Gadhi, Raghu, Ambarish, Sagar, Gaya, Nahusha, Mandhata, Alark, Shatadhanu, Anu, Rantidev, Bhishma, Bali, Amutraraya, Dilip, Soburi, Uttanka, Shibi, Devala, Pipalada, Sharaswat, Uddhava, Parashar, Purishena, Bibhishan, Hanuman, Sukhdev Goswami, Arjun, Arishtishen, Vidura, Shrutadev, etc. Because we are all surrender souls, we know how the Lord acts through his potencies.
Yes, these are all potencies of the Lord. Te vai, text 46. Te vai vedanti ati taranti cha deva mayam स्त्री शूद्र होना सभार अपि पाप जीवः यद्य अद्भुत कर्म पारयान शिला शिक्षास त्रियाग जना आपि किम सुश्रुता धारणाये.
Surrendered souls, even from groups leading simple lives, such as women, the laborer class, the mountaineers, and the sabaras, or even the birds and beasts, can also know about the science of Godhead and become liberated from the clutches of the illusory energy by surrendering unto the pure duties of the Lord and by following their footsteps in devotional service.
Yes. Text 47. शाश्वत प्रशंतम अभयम प्रतिबोध मात्रम शुद्धम समम सद अशता परमात्म तत्वम शब्दो न यत्र पुरकारवान क्रियार्थो माया परित्य अभिमुखे च विलाजमाना तद्वै पदम भगवता परमस्य पुंसो प्रमेति यद् विदुरजस्य सुखम विशोखम.
What is realized as the absolute Brahman is full of unlimited bliss without grief. That is certainly the ultimate phase of the supreme enjoyer, the personality of Godhead. He is eternally void of all disturbances and fear. He is complete consciousness as opposed to matter, uncontaminated and without distinctions. He is the principle of the primeval cause of all causes and effects, in whom there is no sacrifice for fruitive activities, and before whom the illusory energy, being ashamed, does not stand.
So Vyasdev saw na in Canto 1, Chapter 7, verse 4, Bhakti Yoge Namanase Samyak Pranay. They saw Maya standing behind the Lord. She does not come. She feel ashamed to come in front of the Lord. Nice. So we go to text 48. Sadharyanyam niyam yatayo yam karta hetim jayo swarat eva nipana kanitaram indraha.
In such a transcendental state, there is no need of artificial control of the mind, mental speculation, or meditation, as performed by the jnanis and yogis. One gives up such processes as the heavenly king Indra forgoes the trouble of digging a well.
649. Sashayasam api bhibhur bhagavan yatosya भावस्व भाव विहितस्य सता प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमे नुविष्यमाने
देहे स्वधातु विगमे अनुविश्यमाने
व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विश्यते जः
व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विसीर्यते च. The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being, in either the material or spiritual existence, are awarded by the Lord. As such, He is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the sky within the body.
Next 50. सोयम तभीतस्तात सोयम तभीतस्तात
सोयम ते अभिहितस्तात
भगवान विश्व भावना
भगवान विश्व भावनः
समासेन हरेर्नान्यत्
समासेन हरिर्नान्यत्
अन्यस्मात् सत् असच्चयत्.
अन्यस्मात् सदसच्चयत्. My dear son, I have now explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is creator of the manifested worlds. Without him, Hari, the Lord, there are no other causes of the phenomenal and noumenal existences.
Nothing exists without the Lord. Everything is Lord's energy. Text 51. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Bhagavatam
Yanme Bhagavatoditam Sangrahoyam Vibhutinam Tvam Etad Vipulikuru.
Tameta Tripuli Kuru.
O Narad, this Science of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to me in summary by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it was spoken as the accumulation of His deserves potencies. Please expand this science yourself.
Yes. Now text 52. यथा हरौ भगवती निर्नाम भक्तिर्भविष्यति सर्वात्मन्य अखिलाधारे इति संकल्प वर्णय.
Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Hari, the super soul of every living being, and the summum bonum source of all energies.
Text 53. Mayam varnayato mushya ईश्वरस्यानुमोदतः शृण्वता श्रद्धया नित्यं माययात्मा न मुह्यति.
The Lord's activities in association with His different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord.
Yes. Okay, now this chapter is over. Thus ends. So tomorrow we'll do questions by King Parikshit. Okay. So how many verses that chapter have? Oh, okay, 29 verse. So by tomorrow we finish chapter 8. Then I'll try to, he's arranging for chapter 9 and 10 so that you can get nice explanation of Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Huh? Tomorrow I'll finish. So otherwise he's arranging. He told me whatever you can finish, you finish. No, somebody he will give whoever according to whatever he's arranging, but no one he could find. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.